Leave it with us. Catch us on the Locker Room and Voice of the People Television at 5 p.m. Nigerian time. And like I always say, if not 2024, with the sport.
And it's Hakim Ziyech who puts the Atlas.
The red carpets, awards, the razzmatazz, music, fashion, interviews, and more. Spotlight on Voice of the People Television. Let's feed you with all the juicy stories in the global entertainment space, bringing you the glitz and glamour as it is hot. Stay tuned to Spotlight, 1 p.m. Monday to Friday. Spotlight on VOP TV. Entertainment like never before. To know the happenings in the maritime sector, join us on the program Maritime Frontiers on VOP TV as we discuss key areas in the maritime sector from aquaculture, maritime transportation, maritime labor regulation, oil and gas exploration, ferry and passenger insurance, marine pollution and prevention, port operations, and lots more. Maritime Frontiers, exploring Nigeria's blue economy. VOP TV. Now, you have more than a voice. VOP TV. Now, you have more than a voice.
Good evening, Africa. My name is Bamakore, actor, model, producer, and I'm giving a big shout out to VOP TV, man. Keep watching. Don't change the dial. Thank you and God bless you.
My name is AY, and of course, I represent the voice of the people, and that's why I'm on VOP. AY say so.
Hi everyone, it's your girl Miriam Tima from The Real Housewives of Lagos and The Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip Africa.
Well, thank you very much for joining us again. Now, this is Newspaper Review. I'm Moses Humphrey. And of course, we'll be going through the dailies, making sense of the headlines today. Well, I have with me in the studio, Mazi Amobi Ihegworo. He stays back from VOP this morning. Thank you very much Massive. And we also have Daily Fanimo, a public affairs commentator and reporter, stays back from VOP this morning's show. We also have Philemon Ajekuko, who also stays back as well. I do appreciate you, gentlemen. And joining us is Lawale Kundayo. Good to have you join us, an educationist, a farmer, and a public affairs commentator. Well, good to have you join us. Now, I actually envy you. I mean, you get to eat fresh food this season, because I decided to stock up my fridge in hope that when you buy things in November or October, they'll be cheaper. But then December has come and there's no light, so the things in the fridge are beginning to go bad, and it's troubling. It's troubling
because you are not on Bandy.
Because I'm not on Bandy.
Talk to IBDC.
I don't want to be on Bandy.
You start your celebration now. You start to dead fast.
But it's heartbreaking when you try to, use the little you have to make Christmas enjoyable for yourself, and then the power issue comes up, and you don't have power to present the things you start up.
Solar power.
Well, that in itself cannot really power refrigerators, depending on the kind of refrigerator.
The capacity of your
So I should provide that for myself.
Solar inverter.
So I don't need the government.
The mistake
every Nigerian is a municipal.
The mistake we are making is that we are planning. In Nigeria of these days, you don't plan.
Are you serious?
Yes. The situation we are in does not guarantee planning, because you don't know what is going to happen the next minute.
Wow.
That is Nigerian economy for you.
Wow. Wow, okay. That one hit me. Oh, well, let's look at the headlines here.
Thank you.
Some people planned ahead, paid school fees ahead, and then I don't know if the school fees will be returned, like Yaya Bello did. He paid about $845,000. Now, we talked about this earlier, but it's right here. So we may just, if we have more things to talk about it, we will. If not, we'll move on to other headlines. He did. It's an upfront thing too.
He did.
No, 5 million. It's upfront.
It's upfront.
It's upfront.
It is the
A lot of it
university that is
upfront.
upfront. The current fee is in the secondary school.
It's upfront.
It's upfront.
It's
The
upfront.
payment is upfront.
That is why it was
That's
calculated
5 million.
now.
It was upfront.
If you want to pay from the school, we'll take it.
So this is the headline here. NMDPRA, Dangote face off. Tinubu picks replacements as Farouk Komalafe resign. Now the riders to that headline. Hurried replacement unsettles stakeholders. Dispute threatens Nigeria's resource sovereignty, says Agbakoba. All right, that's the headline. And some other papers react to it as well. Now, we also have the Punch report says petrol war fallout. NMDPRA, NUPRC bosses resign as Dangote's petition rocks sector. Downstream tension grows as marketers fear business collapse. Experts say oil new regulators may feel threatened by Dangote. I think I asked a question in this regard earlier in the day. Well, do we have any other reaction to it? Because we have reacted to this one already.
I think we have almost exhausted it.
Okay. Well, in the absence of any, can we just move on to other
Except Mr.
headlines?
Lawal has his own take.
I'm fine.
Let's move on. Okay, so reps probe FIRS France MOU on tax administration. And in the tradition of the Guardian, the writers are inside, says published tax laws different from National Assembly approved copy. Rep alleges. New tax law would bring hardship. EKIRS tells residents. Very interesting.
Is it deliberate or,
It seems
not?
deliberate. It seems deliberate.
Because we should not do certain things that can trigger tension in this country. I wonder how you can have two versions of a particular law.
Smuggled in. One was approved, the other one was smuggled in.
That is the point. Are they aware of, their actions, the potential danger inherent in this action, that you have two versions of one thing? That, if proven, will negate the whole essence of the tax reform. And government should be a little bit more circumspect in handling this type of issues. Because once it is proven that something fishy is within the Tax Act, which is likely in the next 3 weeks or thereabout, likely to come upstream, I just wonder. I think Mr. President should also be very, very careful, because there are too many policy somersaults or policy inconsistency, trailing this administration, reversals, as it were, and all that. This does not tell us that the president is a master strategist. I would rather refer to the president as a political master strategist and not a management master strategist, because he has failed in trying to, manage some of these issues. So I want to believe that that thing is not correct, but if it is correct, it is unfortunate. I expect
We'll try to get the video where
yes,
the rep.
I expect the spokesperson, what's his name, Ononoga, to have come. You see, one thing is that when there is issues of serious national interest, you will see the spokespersons not coming up. But when it is the issue of attacking somebody, punching hole in a statement that somebody made, you see avalanche of them coming up, to do so. But this is of national interest, and it's a very sensitive matter at that.
And another thing is that this is not the first time. We've seen it even in the budget where there's some kind of disparities. It caused a lot of brawl in the house. So it's not new. It's not new. So they've taken it as something like
it's not normal. New, but it's an anomaly. And that, the House will pass something, and then they will gazette a different thing.
Yeah, there will not be issues. By the time those ones are now doing oversight or reviewing it, they will now say that there's a disparity maybe in what they approved, the figure, and so many things. And it's not normal. It's not normal.
All right, Mr. Fanimo, let's get your thoughts.
You see, my fear in all of this is that I'm looking at the deeper implication of this kind of information. Now, what that tells me is that, if it is true anyway, is that there's a kind of ambush along the line. Okay, let's give them what they are likely to pass. And then we now coin our own that suits our own purpose. Now, who feds before a law, a policy is gazetted and becomes operational? Is it that there is a particular way of monitoring that what was is what will be gazetted? Where is the responsibility of Ministry of Justice, and particularly the Attorney General of the Federation? Because these are laws, and they must pass through the Ministry of Justice. It is not the presidency that will gazette, it is the Ministry of Justice that will gazette. And if there is any noticeable disparity, I think the Attorney General should answer for it. He should explain to us how those extraneous things were able to find their way into that particular law. Because it's grave. It's just like if there is a law in the National Assembly that prescribes 10,000 naira fine, and then at the executive arm, they now reduce it to 1,000 naira fine. Then when you now begin to implement the law, you now notice, but it has already been gazetted. You have to come back to the National Assembly for an amendment of that particular law. And this process also takes, we are not even conversant of the fact that we spend money, taxpayers' money, to go on this merry-go-round. And it impacts on the economy. So for me, the Attorney General of the Federation should explain to us how this particular law that transited from the legislative arm to the executive arm now has disparities. This is how they pad up our budget. It is something today and it's another one tomorrow. So we need to interrogate some of these things. It's not just something that we can just gloss over and say, well, Let's move on. We can't move on because there are many of it that will happen, and some have been happening before now.
Okay. Before we go to Ajakuka, I understand that you have rejoined this conversation. Before we take your response, let's take a listen to the video itself, where the rep member made the statement.
Also went an extra mile to look at the vote and proceedings of the Senate. Or breach of privilege has been committed, or referring the matter to the Committee of Ethics and Privileges. Still, if the matter is raised in the Committee of the Whole, the chairman shall leave the chair on the order to report progress. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I'm here today because my privilege has been breached as a member of this all-important House, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, we passed the tax laws on this floor, and Mr. Speaker, I took my time in the last 3 days to look at the gazetted past copy, the vote and proceedings of the House of Representatives, and also went an extra mile to look at the vote and proceedings of the Senate of what was harmonized. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, what I passed on this floor is not what is gazetted. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I have all the copies, but I'm coming under privilege because I was here, I gave my vote, and it was counted, and I'm seeing something completely different. So on that note, on this privilege, I will call on Mr. Speaker to graciously look at what was harmonized, what is in the gazetted copy, what was passed in the House and the Senate. You will find out what is before Nigerians, which is being sold to Nigerians at the Ministry of Information, which I personally went to buy the gazetted copies, are not what was passed. So there is no motion here, but Mr. Speaker, I'll be pleading that all the documents should be brought before the Committee of the Whole. The whole members should see what is in the gazetted, should see what they passed on the floor, so that we can make the relevant amendments. Mr. Speaker, this is the breach of the Constitution, this is the breach of our laws, and this should not be taken by this honorable House. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I so move.
Thank you, Honorable Abdul Samad.
Have it. Serious, you say?
Yeah, that is very serious. Coming from a member of the House, I want to believe
that's why we should have opposition.
Yeah, I want to believe that there is, this member has integrity. He should not be talking to the nation about what he's not sure of. He even brandished a copy or copies of what is gazetted are already in the public domain and all that. I think it calls for serious, in-depth probe. It's a constitutional malfeasance. It's not supposed to be. And it is not just terrorists that we said must be brought to book. Those people that are responsible for this extraneous injection of what the House has already passed into the gazetted copy should be brought to book. I seriously moved about that motion. I'm thinking I'm in the House already. I moved that motion because then he is not coming as a motion.
Who will support you?
Yeah, that this should be seriously investigated.
Of course, it should be seriously investigated.
Seriously investigated.
But what I'm looking at is, what about, let me say, we are implementing it, and there's a problem. Maybe somebody defaulted, and they will go to court. And then you bring a copy, and then they're arguing that this copy is different from the one that the one is obeying is the one that is in the one
what's in the public domain is
yes,
the gazetted one.
Yeah. Which is different from the one the House passed.
It did not cause as some kind of issue in the court, you know.
Let's
before,
bring
before you go to the other person, I think it just occurred to me that this man must be commended. For the first time, we are seeing seriousness in the National Assembly. Not just spurious allegations, but well-researched allegations. I commend this particular man.
What the additions are.
That is details.
He would have the details.
He will have the details.
He will have the details for him to even brandish and for him to have studied it for 3 days. How many of them that attend Owambe everywhere?
I will be surprised if what he's saying is not correct. I will be surprised.
He shows that he's...
In fact, the other rep behind him, his jaws dropped. The one behind him, because he was surprised.
Yeah.
Really?
Really?
Oh, well.
For this man to even go this extra mile, I think it's commendable.
Yes.
Okay. Well, Mr. Philemon Ajakuko.
I want to adopt what Mazi said, and I want to second the motion. Among the Gen Z, there's a saying, you guys play too much. We play too much. We play too much over very serious matters. Tax is one of the pillars of development. Do you agree with me? It is one of the pillars of development. Most of the developing countries today rest their development on tax. So the question is, how do you play around with such a serious document? How on earth do you play around with such a serious document? And as Mercy said, this is not the first time. We have had several gaffes in this administration. But this gaffe, it goes all the way to the top. I agree that the president, once he gets a document for signing, he wants to believe that every institution that should check this document has done a proper job. But that is not the case here. You will recall when the president granted pardon, and suddenly, to my amazement, the Attorney General came around and said, you know what? Yes, the president has granted the pardon, but we are reviewing the matter. I said to myself, how on earth didn't that document come through the Attorney General's office? So I want to agree with Dele who said somebody needs to be punished. Who did this? And how did that document pass through the offices that are constitutionally empowered to scrutinize such documents? How? Why do we play like this? The tax administration begins in January. And here we are. Today 17, I guess, or yes, 18. The budget is just have to be presented today or tomorrow, I don't know. And here we are, playing around with a serious document. When are we? It only shows, it goes down to the issue of integrity. You recall how a minister becomes a minister, and you would assume that something as easy as checking the authenticity of the certificate, for God's sake, WAEC, bachelor's degree or whatever degree, is the basic thing, is one of the basic things that DSS has to do. Then suddenly, somebody who has been a minister for months, somebody comes around and say, you know what? His certificate was forged. How? Are we serious at all? Are we serious? If we go on like this, we don't have any bright future around though. Let's not kid ourselves. I'm sorry. We don't.
No, it's okay. You're speaking your truth. It's okay. And you said something about the budgets to be presented today or tomorrow. I don't think it will be. I mean, if this next headline and rider is anything to go by, well, let me just take the headline. And the rider I'm referring to is that reps have stepped down the MTEF, FSP over disagreements on oil benchmark. If they're stepping it down, will the president go ahead and present a budget? Oh, well. This is the big story on the cover page of The Guardian. It says, tax reforms pushback. Revenue crisis threaten 2026 fiscal plan. Riders, President asks NAS to approve 43.56 trillion naira spending plan. Reps step down medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal the FSP over disagreement on oil benchmark. President to present 2026 budget estimates amidst unresolved MTEF FSP. Senate member, opposition raised fresh opposition to tax reforms. FG to record 26% revenue performance. Well, this is another issue that also buttresses the fact that we play too much. Like you said.
Let me... These gaps we are seeing, in this administration, you see, the buck stops at the president's table. Sui generis, that is what it should be. And the president must have capacity, must be in a frame of mind to do his work there will be a time. Some of us also work in offices or have businesses we run. At a point in time, you call for documents. Alone, even when your staffers have left the office, you peruse, give me this file, get this file, that file, put it on my desk. I want to review what we have done so far. And in your quiet time, you begin to see, what's going on. Do our president have that time to go through these things very, very well on his own, even when his lieutenants have suggested that, Oga, this is okay for your signature? You need time to peruse some of these documents. Does he have time to do so? Look at the issue of ADC promotion, the issue of amnesty. We can go on and begin to ask questions whether our president have that time to peruse documents, to look at issues on his own, apart from the fact that he have avalanche of assistance, supposed to, on your own, you do some review. That is why the president can close by 4 p.m. on his own, in his own office, do some work. By 7 p.m. he can retire to his house. Even when nobody is there, he makes the decisions based on what is before him. So I think that the president should, as a matter of fact, begin to work, as a chief executive officer. You should not rely so much on your subordinates. Sometimes they can be funny. Look at the names of people that entered the amnesty list. Did he have time to look at them? Look at the ambassadorial list. Did he have time to look at them? And all that. Supporting documents. Ordinarily, the name of the dead man wouldn't have been there. So I want to believe that the president should work, have time to do introspection, work on his own, apart from his subordinates. Because if he does that, he will be raising certain issues that will be corrected before going public. All right. This is a big embarrassment.
Then another thing is that is why he has so many of these advisors, personal assistants, and that is why when it comes to things like this, it's not about giving it as a gift. Offices post as gift to somebody because he has helped me or he's close to me. No. This is when issues like this come, because that person will behave without respect in that office because he knows that the person that put him there is his party. So things like this will now be coming in, you will not be able to do anything. But if it is something you get that person based on the fact that is competent, any short form like that, the person is going and somebody else is coming. So before you present to the president, you must have gone through it very well because the president will listen to analysis on media. Anything he hears, like this one, the rep is saying now, I'm sure it will get to the president immediately because it's an issue. And then we'll have called a person or one or two persons who are involved. Let me see those areas. I want you to look at it. The moment it is true, you hear some people have resigned this night and some people are taking over. The next time the advice people are supposed to do this will not be very, very serious. But these days in Nigeria, when it comes to political office, it's always something that we use to settle people. He was nice to me during the election. He assisted me. He spoke well about me. And just look at the way Omokri was passed. See a lot of backlash from even the society concerning that man. But still, nobody listens. So things like this, we should not make it political. We should be the right person for the job to assist the president.
All right then.
Well, like I said the other time, the truth about it is, I've always said it, our greatest problem are the civil servants in this polity. They are the ones that will teach the average politician where the till is fat. They are the ones that will teach the politicians how to manipulate the system. If there was no collusion between the civil servants and the politicians, honestly, politicians wouldn't have the guts to do all those things they are doing. Behind this distortion, if you investigate properly, you will know that it is the civil servants that are behind it. That's why they are able to look at that Farouk. Look at the allegations against him. How do you explain somebody whose salary cannot be more than maybe 1 million or 2 million naira spending 7.6 billion naira on a school fee
Just,
for 4 children.
Just school fees.
That money could be the annual budget to his parastatal in government. So, if there is no infraction, there is no, if there is no punishment for infraction, we are not headed anywhere in this country.
All right then. Mr. Ajakuka, do you have contributions to this one?
I want to react to what Mazi said. Okay. It is practical. Let's be realistic here. It is practically impossible for the president to go through all documents word for word, all documents that come to his table word for word. It's impossible because of the load of work that he needs to do. But is it beyond solution? No. If you have 2 documents today and you plug them into any chatbot like ChatGPT or Copilot, you just give a prompt. Tell me if there's any difference between this document A and document B, and within 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds, you will see the differences flying out. So it's a question of not wanting to do the right thing. That is what this is all about. We are deliberately sabotaging ourselves. The Ouroboros theory applies here. We eat ourselves from the tail and destroy ourselves in the process. That's just what this is all about. If we want to get it done the proper way, we can get it done. And technology is right there to help us. Are we going to use technology? I'm afraid not.
Thank you. Let me also give
Go ahead.
a clarification here. The president, as it were, it's not too difficult for him to do what I've suggested. Ever since Trump tweeted that Nigeria has been designated a country of particular concern, I do not think Mr. President has moved away from the Aso Rock. I stand to be corrected. He has not moved out of Aso Rock. So he has all the time, particularly those critical documents. I do not think so. Remember the time Shetima represented him, because of the CPC stuff. Ever since, he has not even gone to any state in this country, not to talk of going outside this country. So he has avalanche of time. It's not difficult. That is why it is said that somebody that wants to occupy that position
uneasy lies here.
Must be hands-on. You must be hands-on. Uneasy lies here that we are the crown. Must be hands-on. You must have the capacity. You must have the strength. You must have the strength to do so. When you see somebody walking the talk, in the next 1-2 years, you see gray hairs here and there. It means that person is working. The president must walk the talk because this embarrassment is too many for him. He doesn't speak well for the president.
All right. So the next.
Can I come in? Can I come in?
Yes, of course. Go ahead.
There's a book I will recommend by Axelrod. Axelrod in the United States, who prepared what's his name now, Barack Obama for the presidency. Mm-hmm. It shows you the importance of having a structure around you that is determined to succeed. What we need from a Nigerian president is determination to succeed. Once you define yourself as somebody who has that determination to succeed, you then put people in place that you can trust with your life. That if I tell this man, go and do this, he will do what I have said. Once you have done that, my brother, the right documents, the right advice, the right policies will come to your table. That is how to run a presidency that will be successful. That is how to run a country that will be prosperous, that will be successful. That is how to do it. It is not for the president to check. Look at let's say something like a constitution. You know how bulky it is. Or any other document for that matter. You know how bulky they are. The president will have time to look at ABT, all the T's and the I's, and keep saying it's not what the president's job is. The president's job is to direct the state of affairs. So once the president has put the right people in place, and those people are truthful and honest to themselves, they will do the right thing, and the country will move forward. Indeed. That is how societies are run.
But it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to have the back and forth or policy somersault that we see. And that's why Mazi is calling for the president to go to work. But I understand absolutely your point here. But let's get into another headline before you run out of time. I would like to start off with you, Mr. Ajakuka, on this one. The headline is Fault Lines Threaten Constitutional Reforms Consensus as Reps Vote Today. The riders, Gender Inclusion Bill proposing 182 seats faces resistance. Senate pushback. State police proposal gains traction amid insecurity, governance concerns. Lawmakers want state creation faces toughest constitutional hurdles. Zonal hearings expose regional demands over resource control, devolution. Final passage hinges on supermajority votes, state assembly ratifications, House to vote on proposed amendments via electronic system. I think that's a good innovation. As against the...
I hope that there will be no glitch. I hope there will be no glitch during that election. Now, let me react to the gender thing.
I was going to start with
sorry.
Ajakuka. Yeah. Please go ahead, please.
Very good. Let me just piggyback on what Mazi was about to say, the gender thing and all of the other things. Listen, my friend, I don't really... Listen, I am sick and tired of hearing these things about gender. We have a lot of women. Are women, are they even friends to themselves? If they are friends to themselves, they would orchestrate something that will make them to be there at the table where these discussions are had, where these policies, they are not serious. Women all over the world, they're not serious. So we keep going back to this issue of gender and gender. For me, as a person, I don't care who runs for office. I don't care. A woman, a disabled person, a blind person, or any, I don't care. A southerner, a northerner, a minority, I don't care. What I care about is, does the person love the country as he loves himself? Because sometimes we have this, we have come to this common belief that, oh, listen, if somebody gets to Aso Rock, even when he has good intention, people around him will just do all kinds of stuff, and he will not be aware of what is going on. And I say that is absolute nonsense. The allegation against Mr. Farouk is that he sent his children to the best schools in the world. How do you pay $5 million for secondary school? That shows you a man who wants to do the best for his family. So how come he cannot do his best for his country? If the president wants to do something for himself today, he will follow the same line. He will do the best for himself and his family. So how come it is only when it comes to the issue of the country that is when we begin to, oh, he's being deceived by his aides, nobody's telling him the truth and all that and all that. I don't believe in all that thing. I don't at all.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, the issue of gender, I want to raise the issue of how. That is critical to me.
Well,
how do you want to do this?
182 more seats. That's what it means.
How do you want to distribute it? Now you come to my constituency. You now say, look, your constituency will produce a woman we want. You go to another constituency and say this. How? The how is so cumbersome. It's so intricate to understand. And that is where the problem will be. You come to a constituency now, you now say, okay, are you not going to say this constituency, a woman must? You understand what I'm saying? You go to each state, you say, okay, each state should get 10 women. You now cascade it to the local government. There must be, they may be qualified. You have women that are qualified for such position. My problem is, how are you going to do this? The how is where the problem is. Talk is cheap. It is easier to say, leave 100 seats for the House of Representatives for women. How are you going to do? Now you distribute it according to states. You come to the state, you distribute according to local governments. You come to each local government, you have constituencies. You now tell constituency A that this constituency is for women to be a member of the House of Representatives. How does it work? It is at the level of implementation that we will see the unworkability, if there is anything like that, or that these things are not feasible. It's not.
So it's not about inviting the Senate for lunch.
It's not. Answer the question how. By the time you ask that question, how is this going to be implemented? You find out that it's very difficult.
All right then, Mr. Fanimo.
For me, the moment you begin to allocate is no longer democracy. The moment you shut out a particular Nigerian that has not been convicted, that has not been considered insane or insolvent or run foul of any known law in this country, the moment you de-emphasize that person, you have killed democracy. So how would you go to a constituency where there are able-bodied men and women, and you say only women in this constituency can come out? It is not going to work. You know, the funny thing about this gender issue, I keep asking myself, as we are gathered here, if we belong to NUJ, for instance, the same members of NUJ will carve another body that is running along with NUJ and call it National Association of Women Journalists.
NAWOJ.
Now, in NBA, everybody belongs to NBA, Nigerian Bar Association. But in this NBA, one is carved out, FIDA, Federation of Women Lawyers. They enjoy all the privileges in NBA and exclude men from FIDA. NAWOJ enjoys all the privileges in NUJ but excludes men from NAWOJ. And still, they still cry that they are marginalized.
Now they say Minister of Women Affairs. So.
There is no Minister of Men Affairs. So.
Or Children Affairs. Or Babies Affairs.
So now this push they are talking about is not realistic. The beginning and end of a woman and a man, the difference is anatomy. There are more brilliant women. There are more astute women.
But the question is, they're not given the opportunity.
Who gave those who have been contesting and winning? Who gave them opportunity?
So we want
that is the question I'm asking. How?
How did they emerge?
So you now come and say this constituency woman must come.
The Natashas, how did they emerge? So they gave them free tickets. If there was one person that you want to clap for in this particular administration, it's Natasha. Right from contest, there was so much obstacle. He didn't go back to the state governor to say, look, it is my right as a woman that I dominate this constituency. She fought for it. They dug holes around her constituency so that cars cannot come in. Few days to election, she still went ahead, found her way, and campaigned and won that election. So couldn't she have waited for this particular free passage so that she can win? For me, I don't support it. It's trying to kill democracy.
I think the place it can really come in is appointment. Not election.
Yeah.
So we come in upon we have like 6 seats.
And that is the prerogative of the person that is chief executive.
35% affirmation. You know.
The youth, so let's recognize the youth. So the old.
But were we carrying along when they came to Beijing? Was there a single man there?
Yeah, they didn't tell us.
They didn't tell us
we are going.
There was no consensus.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there are a lot of headlines here, but we have limited time. But I'd like us to touch on this other one before we run out of time. Reps legalize beavers, e-transmission of results. Approve 5-year jail term for falsification of election results. That's, well, the House of Representatives yesterday approved a key amendment to the Electoral Act 2022, formally mandating the use of the bimodal voter accreditation system, BVAS, and real-time electronic transmission of election results from polling units. The amendment also introduces a 5-year jail term for presiding officers found guilty of declaring false results. Yes, that's basically the meat of the story.
Yeah, this requires the concurrence of the Senate. Is it true? And then the presidential assent. That is where the critical thing is. Do you think this present dispensation will assent to that bill when it comes? Very fine. Fine. I am very intentional about the question I raised. I said it requires the concurrence of the Senate, and then the thing would now go to the president for assent. Yes. Can we muster the political will to do this? It's a game changer in our electoral process.
Maybe we need to support it with a loud
voice. It's a game
voice
changer.
From the press and public.
Yeah, if this thing sells through, 35-40% of electoral wahala has been taken care of.
Even more than that.
Because somebody will not come and tell you there is no vacancy in this studio. Just don't worry. Or what the Speaker of Akwa Ibom House of Assembly is talking about. You understand what I'm saying? So it's a game changer, and Nigerians should support it. Civil society should support it. All Nigerians should come in support of this proposition by House of Representatives, because it's going to relieve this country of a lot of tension. Once results are transmitted, and recall that the court has said that, what is it called? INEC it's the prerogative of INEC to either use the beavers or whatever. Now, INEC said, okay, they did not use it. And they're right. But when you make it lawful, INEC must use it. And they must make sure it works because it is legal. You understand what I'm saying? So it's a game changer. I think if we walk the talk and get this thing to be assented to by Mr. President, our electoral problem must have been solved by 30%.
30%, all right. Philemon Ajakuko, please, your take.
In ICT, they taught us something, that the weakest link in any ICT infrastructure is the human beings that will run it. So what we have seen over the years is that when those who are even running the system are not true to themselves, no matter what changes you make, it is still going to come down to the same thing. Don't forget that sometime in 1993, people just queued up. There was no electronic whatever. People just went to their polling booths and queued up. Do you remember that? And it was considered okay. If you look also, I think I made the argument before, there's something the Supreme Court is not doing, and it is not right. The countries are not built on following the technical details of every law. Countries are built on advocacy. So the courts must look beyond the law, and at some point, if they have the interest of the country at heart, and begin to advocate, and what they advocate becomes part of the law. And in this case now, what if somebody deliberately pulls the cord that connects the beavers or whatever it is, or say tells you, oh, there's no network? Then what? If somebody deliberately sabotages it, then you talk about prosecution, right? That is another level. If you look at the history of INEC, in the past how many years, apart from the politicians who are a threat to the system, the biggest threat to whatever they are doing during election cycles is usually staff of INEC itself. And nobody has been able to address that. You remember the new chairman just said, "Oh, he was giving reason why people who infracted the law have not been persecuted." Why? Do we have any reasonable, any cogent reason to give this kind of excuses? We don't. So while I applaud Mazi for applauding this new development, I want him to watch out to see what will happen.
Yeah, thank you. Let me have a right of reply. If electronic transfer of results was legal in 2023, there will be no glitch. Why there was glitch is because they lean on the fact that it is not legal. You get what I'm saying? Yes. Make it legal, it must work.
It was only considered as
but I'm making the counter argument that when you sabotage, there's also another question though, why we are looking at this. There's another question of what is the grand document? Is it the beavers or the election register? Don't forget that when the Supreme Court looked at this case, the Supreme Court said the beavers is not the repository of the original document of election voter, that it is the election register. So I don't know, I've not seen this law, I don't know the details, but I would like to see how that is couched in the new law.
Yeah, that is why we are saying that make it lawful, it will work. Why it didn't work in 2023 was it
wasn't a law.
Yeah, a law. It wasn't a law.
I think it's
the INEC people, the INEC chairman or the INEC staff knows that if you joke with this, of course, make it lawful. You see it will work. Why it didn't work was because it was not lawful.
Mazi, let me pose this question.
Okay,
quickly.
go ahead, please.
Do you remember that part of the law says the guidelines put out by INEC automatically becomes part of the electoral law? Do you remember that?
Yes, go on.
So if that is the case, then your argument does not hold. It means that whatever guidelines that they put out automatically becomes part of the electoral law.
Once this thing is legalized, it takes precedence over the INEC guideline. Once it gets the approval of Mr. President that elections, the beavers is a document you cannot joke with, and the result must be transmitted electronically. It's simple. It is not ambiguous. Whatever thing we are doing, it is there that the result must be transmitted electronically. I bet you that the beavers will work. There will be no glitches.
All right. Then I want to come. You see, this law, is majorly to curb the Supreme Court, not even INEC. The law is to curb Supreme Court, because when Supreme Court was making their judgment, INEC didn't say what Supreme Court said. It was Supreme Court that was interpreting that, saying that it was not required. INEC came up to everybody and said, this thing, they are going to use it. So your word is your bond, for God's sake now. So, and then they came up and then the law that said no, why is the law the one speaking for INEC?
Well, this conversation will continue, of course, and it's getting heated right here, but we're out of time, unfortunately. Right. Thank you very much, Mazi Amobi. Thank you very much, Philemon Ajakuka. Thank you very much, Jeli Fanimo and Lawale Kundayo. I do appreciate you, gentlemen, for your time and your contribution on the program. Well, that's it on VOP this morning. Well, I beg your pardon, that's it on Newspaper Review. I'm Moses Humphrey. I wish you a beautiful day. Bye for now.
Sorry.
Do you want your voice to be heard? Do you know that you matter in the scheme of things?